regarding a journey to the West. Next, what I'll say is now, wasn't His Holiness at that mile-high church teaching everyone here about the Kagyu Dharma lineage, mainly teaching this? At that time, His Holiness taught one class, but for us, the time we're teaching is we might need to teach several more classes, teaching slowly. Mile-high church should be here. How did he teach? Yes, yesterday we talked about, according to Milarepa, first practice the Hinayana, then practice the Mahayana Sutrayana, then study the Vajrayana to attain Buddhahood, such a principle. Then the actual practice of the basic vehicle, and because what came before was like a general outline, and below at that time he taught systematically, first teaching the basic vehicle, actual practice, then Mahayana Sutrayana, Mahayana Vajrayana. So, how can you first cultivate the mind of renunciation? You should contemplate as follows. It is truly rare to obtain such a precious human body that can be used for Dharma practice. Therefore, since I have attained this precious body, I must make full use of it to practice the pure Dharma. Like this, you make the firmly determined vow. His Holiness also taught this way at that time. I think for us now also truly the precious human body is extremely rare. Having obtained such a body, it cannot be preserved for a very long time. When you have this precious human body with freedoms and endowments, everyone should practice well. I often worry that in the future there may not be such an opportunity. When your human body is gone, there may not be such an opportunity. Moreover, the intention to practice, the opportunity to practice, these are also very rare, not something you can have whenever you want. So I tell everyone that even if it's just making aspirations well with the Sangha for one day, it's very important. This is the reason I say this. Because His Holiness here basically first, when teaching renunciation, teaches the common four preliminaries. This should be teaching the practice of the precious human body. And then you should continue to contemplate, although I have obtained the precious human body with all freedoms and endowments, it does not last forever and is fragile and unstable. It's impossible to have this. Anybody cannot be like this. After 100 years or so, all humans present in the world will surely die without anyone left behind. For us people now, we don't need another 100 years. Basically, after another 50 years, because many people listening to the teaching today are probably already in their 20s or 30s or older. At this time, after another 50 years, basically in this world, our generation, almost all the people listening today will be gone. I must recognize the undeniable fact of death and exert myself in Dharma practice. My death is unavoidable. What is even worse is that I don't know when it will come. Death is certain, the time of death uncertain. When death befalls, nothing is helpful except the noble Dharma. When death will come is also impossible to determine. For all of us present here, it's difficult to guarantee that everyone will be here this time next year. This time next year, today is November 3rd, so on November 3rd next year, actually among the many people present today, there will definitely be some who have left this human world. This is absolutely certain and no one can help it. Not just next year, but next month or tomorrow, now at 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, whether we'll be here is also hard to say. When people die, suddenly they're hit by a car, or suddenly when sleeping they can't wake up. This is especially simple. None of us can guarantee that we will stay well and alive in this world until next year, and that none of us will die. For all of us present here, it's difficult to guarantee that at this time next year, among those who will die next year, no one knows whether they themselves will be among them. Generally in 1 year, like in my hometown area, I give each household some money and grain. That day, it seemed like in June, just past 1 year, every year there's a count. At that time, I can't quite remember the number now. At that time, I think I told everyone in class, was it 40 or 30 or how many? In one tribe, I joked at that time, if these people lined up, if those who died next year lined up, that would probably be 30-some people in a line. Very frightening. Among them are adults, children, young people, all of them like this. So regarding our death, indeed for many people it's worth paying attention to. We never know what will come first, our next life or next year. Not just next year, we cannot even be sure we will not die next month. None of us can guarantee all of us will still be alive. Since the arrival of the Lord of Death is unknown, you must spend all your time and energy practicing the Dharma. On this point, everyone should really recite the mantra of Amitabha Buddha 300,000 times. Of course, I'm just saying this. I definitely don't have time now. Originally, every year I wanted, for the sake of confession, to recite 400,000 Vajrasattva mantras at the beginning of the year, and for the sake of rebirth in the pure land of Sukhavati, to recite 300,000 Amitabha heart mantras. I really want to do this, but this year I don't know how it is. Now, still telling you this is like saying one thing while thinking another. In my heart I really want to, but some things, I always feel that life is impermanent and many things are too late. So some translations, mainly some translations and some classes to teach, I should complete them early. Otherwise, this lifespan is too impermanent. Now, there shouldn't be time to wait for a long time. I always have this feeling. So I hope everyone will do their best to complete these practices of Amitabha. 1 million recitations of the Buddha's name, 300,000 mantras. Do your best to do this. When death befalls, nothing is helpful except the noble Dharma. Think about this. Would high social status be helpful upon death? Even a king who rules the whole world can only head alone to an unknown world after death without the power to take any assistant with him. A few days ago, wasn't there the former Premier Li Keqiang of the State Council? He suddenly died due to heart disease. After he died yesterday, it seems there was cremation. I saw in his promotional videos, probably about 100 people. Originally, he was the second in command of 1.4 billion people, should be said to be over many people. If there was someone to help, taking 1 or 2 along would also be fine, but there's also no way. From today onwards, basically even the name might not exist. Worldly people are all like this. People all over the world, no matter what kind of power you have, when you die, not even one disciple. Doesn't words of my perfect teacher also explain this very clearly? There just isn't any. Would great wealth be helpful upon death? Even a person who possesses the wealth of an entire country can only enter alone into his next life without taking anything with him, not even a mouthful of food or a patch of clothing. The world's richest people now, whether Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, all kinds of these big shots, in the end when they die, there's also no way. Some people don't even need to die, like Xu Jiayin, even before dying. He's already disappeared. At this time, perhaps all the wealth he previously possessed, not even a cent might be able to come down with him. This is impermanence. Do you think that fame will be helpful at the time of death? Even a world-famous person. When dying, fame is also completely useless. They can only wander helplessly into a completely strange world, including now the famous people in the world, these celebrities, stars, when all people die. Now it seems various countries all know about a few old men, like the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. He's over 70, but it seems sometimes when I see his videos, I silently recite Om Mani Padme Hum. Worldly people are all like this. No matter how high your fame, what use is it? Of course, sometimes when we say too much, if other videos later take screenshots, it's also hard to say. Deeply reflecting on all these situations, you are urged to practice the Dharma without further delay. Otherwise, when you finally remember the Dharma and try to practice after having idled away most of your life, then it will be too late. Indeed, it's like this. It should be clear that death is not the extinction of everything, like a fire being extinguished or water evaporating, as non-Buddhists and atheists now say. Rather, both good and bad karma will accompany you to the next life. It should never be thought that nothing exists after death. So His Holiness told everyone a few stories from the past and historical accounts as follows. Because what came before was teaching on the impermanence of life, and after finishing teaching on the impermanence of life, karma and cause and effect, and past and future lives, these two are taught together among the 4 preliminaries. So what is this like? There used to be a learned non-Buddhist Pandita who debated with the influential Buddhist philosopher Dharmakirti his whole life, but never won, and later he died. In his next life, he was reborn as a child and became a debater at the age of 18, and went to debate with Dharmakirti again, but still failed. In the first life, he debated with him and didn't win. Then in the second life, he had such courage in the next life. We often say, this lifetime I really have no way, so in my next life I'll fight with you. In the end, he still didn't win. Who knows when he finally died? After he died, he reincarnated again, and at the age of 7 became a debater, and later started to debate with Dharma Kirti again, unsurprisingly failing again. Eventually, in 3 lifetimes, he debated with him but never won. Perhaps at that time Dharma Kirti was getting a bit old, and he himself probably had the power to recall past lives, and moreover his reincarnation was quite accurate. Otherwise, if we do this with someone in this life, in the next life they might not recognize each other. It might be like this. But non-Buddhists sometimes are quite formidable. He probably had this power to recall past lives. Later, in 3 lifetimes, he fought with him, and if he didn't win, eventually he had no choice but to take refuge in Buddhism. So, in the non-Buddhist religions, many of them admit the existence of past and future lives, and there are many people who can recall their past lives, including Ashvaghosha, Nagarjuna, and also Master Dignaga. Many at the beginning didn't believe. Among all of us here, some are no different from non-Buddhists. At the beginning, they absolutely didn't acknowledge past and future lives, didn't acknowledge karma and cause and effect. Every day just eating and drinking, only caring about this life, not about the next. But later they themselves had quite good virtue, because of course without virtue, even if they ordain, it's useless. Sometimes truly this virtue and merit are very much related. Some have already ordained, but in the end still often slander or often create negative karma. Taking lay vows is useless, taking monastic vows is useless. Even obtaining a Dharma teacher degree is useless. But if the virtue is relatively good, even without ordaining, just listening to 1 or 2 classes, in the end their whole life is very complete. So this is also like this. There are also those who recall past lives like this. This is among non-Buddhists. There are similar stories in Buddhism. The situation of past and future lives existing is also like this. According to historical records, in the south of India, there once appeared a master named Chandragomin. His previous life was as a Buddhist pandita who had fierce debates with a non-Buddhist scholar who denied the existence of past and future lives. As a result, the two of them couldn't determine a winner. Later, Chandragomin in his previous life said, "I will show you the existence of future life. Now I'm going to die. Please preserve my dead body in the coffin with well-prepared holy medicine." At that time, the king served as witness. Then his body using bronze, everything was his body in the end. Didn't he hold it in his mouth? He held that pearl, and there was a red mark on his head in a very solid bronze coffin. After everything was placed, it was put there for the king to protect and witness. He then held a pearl in his mouth and made the vow, "After my reincarnation, may I master all the knowledge I have learned in this life. And if you see someone who is born with this pearl in his mouth, that person is my reincarnation." Later he manifested parinirvana. Because of the vow he had made, Chandragomin was born with that pearl in his mouth, and moreover, the red mark on his head also existed. As for the coffin, at that time this king requested to saw open the coffin, and indeed the corpse was there, but the red mark on the head and the pearl were gone. Actually when we taught the 400 verses, we also explained some things from past lives. This is equivalent to a method of accomplished masters, and also a power of interdependence. Including some marks on the body from past lives can directly transfer to the body of the next life. At this time, that debating non-Buddhist scholar started to consider the true existence of past and future lives a reasonable doubt. Furthermore, with Chandragomin in this aspect, debating and discussing, later Chandragomin Pandita fully understood. In that life, he was even more brilliant at understanding the Dharma and had no obscurations at all. Through continuous debate and continuous explanation, the non-Buddhist Pandita confirmed the true existence of past and future lives and believed in the truth of the Buddhist teachings. Consequently, he followed Chandragomin, and he himself also rose to the status of a great Pandita in Buddhism. This is also in Chandragomin's biography. How he later became, this is in the history books. Now, I'll talk about the history related to your Kagyu lineage, related to your Kagyu tradition. Let's talk about the Karmapas. His Holiness said, the first Karmapa was Dusum Khenpa, the second Pakshi Karmapa. In many Chinese texts, Karmapashi, but it should be Karmapa Pakshi because his name is Pakshi. So you must add Karmapa, then Pakshi. Pakshi is his name. In Chinese, in many history books, it's Karmapashi. But if it's Karmapashi, then the others would be Karma Dusum Khenpa, Karma Rangjung Dorje. There wouldn't be Karmapa, but Karmapa is the Tibetan. Karmapa should be there. The third Karmapa Rangjung Dorje, the guru of omniscient Longchenpa, there are praises both before and after. Up to the present 16th Karmapa Rangjung Rigpe Dorje, Karmapa Rangjung Rigpe Dorje should have passed away in 1981. The 16th Karmapa Rangjung Rigpe Dorje, all of these Karmapas were clearly predicted in many texts, such as gathering of the wisdom intent of the Nyingma tradition, including their lifespans. But in this there are some general ones, not all of them, some of them are there. Also, the first Karmapa Dusum Khenpa prophesied the parents and other details concerning the second Karmapa, and this tradition has continued with every reincarnation up to the 16th Rigpe Dorje. Every previous life prophesied the next life. When His Holiness went in 1993, the 16th Karmapa had already passed away. As for what came after, at that time it seems he hadn't been officially recognized yet. Probably in search for Shangri-La, it was 1997 or something. At that time, when he was recognized, I don't remember very clearly, but it's explained very clearly in there. At that time, Rigpe Dorje, after he passed away later outside, they also searched through various methods. Finally, Jamgon Kongtrul Rinpoche, when he went to recognize the next life, in the middle there was a car accident and he passed away. Later it should have been Situ Rinpoche. He remembered that previously the 16th Karmapa told him not to randomly open a Gao box he gave him. As a result, when he opened this Gao box, his own next life's details, including father's name, mother's name, his mother was called Lolaga or something, his father was called Dondrup, the place where he would be born was Latok. All of this was in there. At the very earliest time I saw that search for Shangri-La. Actually, it should be very truthful and fair inside, explaining the entire situation of the recognition of the current Karmapa. At the time of recognition, how he was waiting at home, and after they came to his home, how it was. The entire situation was very extraordinary. Some people might not believe, but indeed some reincarnate Tulkus and the existence of past and future lives. This is already a fact. So when His Holiness was teaching at that time, it should be the history of the current Karmapa probably hadn't appeared yet. It should not have appeared yet because the current Karmapa, there are two Karmapas, Black Crown and Red Crown, both are outside and are quite famous. They benefit beings in different ways. So indeed, regarding past and future lives, His Holiness at that time also cited, in this way up to the present Rigpe Dorje, each of these cases involves prophecies about future lives. This serves as evidence for the existence of past and future lives. The above is some historical information that proves the existence of reincarnation. Certainly, there is logical inference to establish this truth, which is well expounded in many Buddhist scriptures, including what we have already explained before. Previously, I also taught past lives and future lives, and also the Pramanavartika and many others, including the Madhyama Kalankara, and others also have some. But this time I won't go into detail. His Holiness earlier explained such as simple principles, so I won't elaborate further. All right, we'll stop here for today.
Bandara Bandara